Nothing brings out my annoyingly didactic side quite as much as invasive species. And I thought that today I would share that with you all as I go for a walk and identify winter invasive plants.
The Rhode Island Natural History Survey presents videos to showcase the animals, plants, geology, and natural systems that surround us, and the people and organizations working to understand and conserve them.
So I'm here at Canonchet Trail in Narragansett, where there are a lot of invasive plants despite efforts to control them. And let's go see what we can find. When I picked Canonchet Trail to do this in, it was in no way intending to pick on Canonchet Trail or the Friends of Canonchet. In fact, I picked it because they have done such a good job, and they're so conscious of the invasives that they have here. You'll see behind me some of the bittersweet stems that they've cut off to clear this whole area of bittersweet. And they've done a spectacular job of clearing invasives out of the edge of the coastal ponds down behind Narragansett Beach. The trail begins here, next to the Senior Center. So today we're trying a little winter invasive ID, and there are at least 4 species of invasive plant in this frame right now. How many can you see? So we have garlic mustard. These are the rosettes of garlic mustard that form at the end of the first year of growth. In the spring, next year, they'll shoot up a bloom spike and then die off after they set seed. And here is multiflora rose. Multiflora rose and Japanese honeysuckle. And of course, this is shrub honeysuckle. This could be Allium vineale, crow garlic, an invasive that you commonly see in lawns. Of course, it's growing right here next to some Japanese honeysuckle. Here's a good one. This is privet. See the black berries and the sort of yellowish silver stem? There are a bunch of different kinds of privet, but to my eye they all have this pattern where branches come out opposite each other. See? This one and that one and that one. There and there, there and there. There's privet again. Another way I like to think about identifying privet is it looks kind of like fish bones. This is a pretty common look for winter privet. Notice how it's kept its green leaves longer than anything else around it. Well, that one's not very hard. That is Japanese knotweed in its winter form. Notice the nice, pretty red color. It's said with irony. We're a ways into the property now and away from the edges that have so many invasives. This part of the woods here is actually not too heavily invaded, and the folks who've been maintaining the trail, the Friends of Canonchet Farm and the Boy Scouts and others, have done a good job of controlling the invasive influx into this part of the woods. There are a lot fewer invaders here, away from the edge of the property, but there's still a couple. There's a multiflora rose. You can see it's doing its scrambling up a tree thing. This is kind of fun. I don't know if it's going to show in the video, but here are 3 vines. 2 of them are native, and 1 of them is invasive. Can you tell which is which? So, from right to left, bittersweet, catbrier, grape. That is the invader. I know a lot of people already know this, but it is worth remembering that just because a plant is climbing over other plants and aggravating to humans doesn't make it invasive. So this is catbrier, Smilax rotundifolia, and it's native, and it's a very important plant for a number of ecological functions. You can see it is also retaining its leaves a little longer than other plants, but that doesn't necessarily make it an invasive, even though a lot of invasives do tend to have different timings with their leaves. So there's a shrub honeysuckle that's holding onto its leaves longer than anything else around. Well, anything else except the Japanese honeysuckle that's climbed up that bush there. Here's something we haven't seen yet. That's barberry. See the arching stem, the little thorns? So we're walking down along the southern edge of Petaquamsket Cove. There it is over in the background, behind these wonderful, huge sassafras trees and oaks. You can see there's a line of Phragmites growing. Of course, that's also an invasive, Phragmites australis. You can see it right there. There's a good example of a Japanese honeysuckle. You see how it's got opposite leaves, similar to the privet? I don't know why invasive plants tend to have opposite leaf arrangements. Maybe I'm just imagining that. Maybe if somebody knows the answer, they could leave it in the comments. So I was walking along the trail, and you can see Petaquamsket Cove in the distance there. It's a really beautiful woods. But I've come across this branch here covered with red berries on the ground, and I thought that's a winterberry. It's a weird place for winterberry to be growing, but you can see it's not growing. It's been cut, and it's just somebody must have dropped it here after cutting it. It's just a reminder that in Rhode Island it's illegal to cut certain what are called Christmas greens on property if you don't have permission. Somebody was cutting this for decorating, and they're on conservation land, so not okay. Now we've come up to the edge of South County Museum, and it's more of a sort of garden situation here. And so here is mugwort, or artemisia. In the winter it looks like this. It has these sort of, the leaves have a whitish underside, and then it's got these inflorescences, these seed things. I was wondering when we were going to find this. This is wineberry. See how fuzzy the stem is? It's like a fuzzy stemmed blackberry. It's wineberry. You can see it really well here where it's backlit by the sun. Here's more work by the Friends of Canonchet. These are restoration plantings here at the edge of this wall. They've removed the invasives and planted native plants. Great job cutting bittersweet out of here. So I just found something kind of cool in this area along the wall where the Friends of Canonchet have been clearing invasives and doing some restoration plantings. I've been wondering if I would see burning bush here, and in fact I found it. You can often find it because of its bright red leaves. I found it here in this restoration area, so I'm thinking these are either sprouts from a seed bank that was here before, or they're sprouts from roots of adult bushes or full-size bushes that were cut as part of this restoration. Here are two of those winged euonymus burning bush seedlings, and they think they're hiding down here in the leaves, but they're wrong. See that green stem? That is one of the giveaways. That and that red leaf right there. People might think I was picking on Canonchet Farm or the Friends of Canonchet, and I definitely was not. The Friends of Canonchet are more aware of invasives and have done more good work on invasives than a lot of organizations, practically any organization, and everybody has an invasive problem. And just to show that I wouldn't do anything to someone's property that I wouldn't do to my own, here we are in my backfield, and there are at least 3 invasives behind me. So there's maybe the most extraordinary and alarming invasive. That is Miscanthus sinensis, and we're 1,500, 2,000 feet from the road, way out in the middle of nowhere. So this grass, which has been sold as a non-spreading bunch grass, is clearly naturalizing, because there is no other source for this plant than a wind-borne seed. Yeah, I said there were 3 invasives behind me. There are at least 3 in this frame right here. There's privet right there, and autumn olive, and Japanese honeysuckle. Oh yeah, 4. That's shrub honeysuckle behind, right there, and that is multiflora rose. Oh, and bittersweet. What is that, 6? So this is autumn olive, and even without its leaves, you can see how it has white twigs, whitish twigs. It's one way to identify it in the winter. So there's a big autumn olive. When they get old and big like this, they break down and fall apart and regrow from new sprouts. So that's a seedling of glossy buckthorn. There's quite a few here. See another one off to the left, and then right next to it is a black cherry seedling. So they're about to begin a life or death struggle. So identifying glossy buckthorn can be really tough, especially in the winter, because it looks a lot like an alder or like a black cherry, both of which are native. But here's one, and look, it's retaining a few of its leaves, just like an invasive tends to do. So you see how the veins of the leaf are opposite and sort of loop back around, form sort of, I don't know, I think of it as an egg shape. That's something that I tend to look for a buckthorn. And then, of course, the white lenticels on the stem as well. Well, that's it, and thanks for joining me. This has been not so much an invasive plant ID class as an invasive plant scavenger hunt. I hope it's inspired you to go out and look around over the winter and see what you can see. Until next time, see you out there. Natural History Survey videos are made possible through the generous contributions of members and friends. Want to help us do more environmental science and conservation? Hit the like button, share our videos with your circle, subscribe, or make a financial contribution on our website, ranhs.org, or through Patreon. Thanks, and see you out there.